let's start off right now. How is everybody doing today? We are back with another episode of Chatting with Enchatin. Guys, Chatting with Enchatin, if you are new to this series, it is a Clash Royale pretty much podcast. There's going to be gameplay going on that side. There you go. Whoa, no, over there. Of just TV Royale while we go over this, give you something to watch while we talk about Clash Royale's burning topics. We have one question in the chat right now coming out from TJW Slider. He says, I have a question. Why do you think Supercell doesn't do legendary challenges like the Magic Archer, farmable like how the Electro Wizard was? So pretty much he's asking, last year around Christmas time, not this Clash Christmas, the Christmas before, there was a legendary challenge called the Electro Wizard Challenge. This challenge was farmable. You were able to farm your Electro Wizard up to level 5, maxed out, if you wanted to, continuing to do the challenge over and over again. His question is, why do they no longer do that? I think the question's kind of simple and complex at the same time. I don't think they want people farming legendaries to give an unfair advantage towards ladder. I think it's one of those situations where it's almost impossible to really judge, you know? I feel like they could make it farmable, but at the same time, you know, it kind of feels like a money grab if they make it farmable, and I guess they'd rather just have it be the same way it's always been, where you just buy chests and level up your cards, and I think that they like that system better than it feeling like a grind fest, a farm fest, where you have to waste 100 gems over and over and over again just to keep on getting a card. Instead, you could just buy chests, which could give you other cards as well. I feel like they just would rather have the system of where you buy chests to get cards, and I feel like that's a system that they want to really, you know, press over and over again. Do I think it's bad to have those kind of challenges? I do not. I think it promotes skill, and I think it makes it a lot easier for better players to max out cards quicker. But here's the thing, the better players are the ones who buy cards to max it out and to get max accounts. Instead, they would just be able to max out their account. Here's the thing, guys. Bottom line, from a business standpoint, because I'm a businessman, the best reasoning is this. Best reasoning, plain and simple, is they want you to buy chests to max out cards because it makes them money. It helps them improve the game, because the more and more, okay, we spend on the game, the better and better the game can be. If there's no money coming into the game, or very little money coming into the game, the quality of the game will drop. And I feel like they like the business model. They like making money. Who doesn't like making money? And I feel like that's kind of the path that they wanted to go. They took out the Electro Wizard, and I feel like, you know, I'm torn. I mean, I would love to have that challenge back, but, you know, when there's somebody who has an entire weekend where they can farm an entire Electro Wizard, it's kind of unfair for the people who have something to do that weekend. The perfect example is when Christmas was around, I was with my family, okay? I was only able to get like a level 3.5 Electro Wizard during that challenge, okay? There was people who got level 5 Electro Wizard. They were on a better playing field than me just because they had more time to play. And I don't think that that is the greatest, you know, thing in the game. But at the same time, pay to win, guess what? At least you're paying money to win instead of paying pretty much, in essence, time to win. So I think that is that. JR Shu coming in with a question. What is my favorite card? My favorite card used to be Sparky. Then it used to be Giant. Now, if I had to pick a favorite card, I would still say it's kind of floating between Graveyard and Sparky. I'm gonna go with Sparky because I played probably the most games of Clash Royale with Sparky and with Graveyard. But I just feel like Sparky's just how I built my Twitch channel. And I just feel like that's the card that really symbolizes who I am as the best Sparky player in the world. That's why I'm gonna go with that. All right, let's see. Do we have anybody in the waiting room? Oh, nope, we just had somebody leave. The mic must have been down. All right, so let's get somebody in the waiting room and then let's pull them in to talk to them. Another question coming in right now. How will the meta shift with the addition of the Magic Archer? I think the meta is going to shift this way. I think it's going to shift where there's going to be a lot of Fireball bait. There might be a lot of Three Musketeer, Flying Machine, and Magic Archer combination decks, maybe with some Tornado, Ice Golem, and some cheap Cycle Troops. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems for the Fireball and the Poison. I think there's also another great combination is Flying Machine, Magic Archer, Tornado Graveyard. The reason why is because if you poison or fireball the Magic Archer, you're not going to have anything for the graveyard. The 7 range of the Magic Archer is absolutely phenomenal. It is so long. It can easily pierce buildings across the entire arena. It could definitely help out beatdown decks versus the mortar players who just drop that mortar 7 tiles back and they say, ha ha ha, beat me. That's no longer going to be viable now that we have the sweet and sexy Magic Archer. I really love the 7 range, and I really think that might be the turning point in the game. We have another question coming in from Ivic Gaming. Hey, Chatin, what do you think of the tournaments right now? Do you miss the 15K tournaments? I personally miss the 15K tournaments. I performed decently well in them. I had a couple of top 10 finishes, never really got to top 3. But I was always playing Sparky back then. That was how I was building my channel. I feel like I would love to have them come back, but I understand why they're never going to be able to come back. Big clans just abused the system and pretty much just, didn't even play in them, especially where all you had those, what were they? I forgot. There was like some chat app that you downloaded and you can just get in for free. And just get free cards pretty much. Those were really ruined it, where you literally got 500 free cards to just get 1 win really quickly. And that's pretty much that. JR Shu asks, what is the best card in the meta right now? The best card in the meta right now, in my opinion, is that's tough because the meta just fluctuated. I would say probably Giant, Golem, or maybe even Expo. I think all of those are amazing cards in the meta right now, and I think they really, really, really shine in this kind of beatdown style meta. But with the Magic Archer coming around, I mean, it might not do a lot of damage, but it definitely can line its ducks in a row with the Tornado and pierce down all the supporting troops. So that's going to be a very, very, very big problem as far as that's concerned. We have another question coming in from the Bomber Darks 99. Your thoughts on a fixed deck order? Well, the fixed decks order, obviously, if you guys saw it, it is a brand new feature that Clash Royale implemented. They are currently just testing it out. I think it is absolutely amazing for the game. I would, however, change it. The way I would change it is this. I would only allow 2 starting cards to be chosen instead of your entire 4 for your starting hand. I think or actually it's the entire 8. I think the randomness is okay, but I also feel that just to have a pump counter in there or to have a pump in your hand at all times is viable. So you're never going to have the situation where I have pump and you don't have fireball. It's going to definitely take away a little bit of the power from the pump, make the pump a little bit more skilled. And I think the pump can even get buffed again because of this. And what I mean by buffed again because of this is, I mean, it could get a little bit of a health buff to where poison, leaves it with 3 ticks instead of leaving it with 2 with a positive elixir trade. I think that was a huge hit on it. But if you have fixed starting hands, I think that really neutralizes a lot of the power from the pump, because if you didn't have an answer for the pump to start out the game, or if you made one little mistake, you were instantly going to lose and you were paying the price for a lot. I mean, you definitely were sitting there paying a ton for that. And I really feel, that's not all right to lose a game that easily in the game. All right, let's see. What question do we have? Enchatin, do you think the Magic Archer will kill Dark Goblin? What do you mean will kill Dark Goblin? I think it might be an even trade. I think they might kill each other at the same time. I think they might kill each other at the same exact time. And yes, there is a new starting deck order in friendly battles, guys. All you have to do is when you're requesting for friendly battle, it's a new feature where it says that you can request a friendly 1 versus 1 fixed deck order. That's how it goes off. That way you know exactly when somebody is doing it. Let's see. What else? Do we have another question in here? Yes, Rusty of Keys is asking, do you think Golem Beatdown is at least one of the hardest decks to play in the game? I think Golem Beatdown is difficult to play, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's one of the hardest decks to play. I think it takes a lot of skill to play it, but I'm not going to sit here and say it is the most skillful deck in the game. It is a deck where you don't just drop a giant in the back and then, everything else behind it and just pray. It is a little bit more complex than that. I would say on the difficulty scale, 7.5 out of 10. Definitely a 7.5 out of 10. And that will be that. Let's see. How do you feel you use Giant? How do you feel you use Giant? What do you mean? I may have missed something. All right, it looks like somebody is in the waiting room for Discord, actually. So let's pull him in here after answering this one more question. Let's just make sure he's ready. He's getting his mic checked right now. What do you think? What is my favorite arena? My favorite arena is Goblin 1 Arena, Arena 1 Goblin Stadium. 100%. 100%. And the last question we'll ask before we get into the caller on the line will be, what ways do you think they can buff the Zappies? I think the Zappies are in a pretty good spot right now. I think they're going to be really shining, maybe even with the addition to them with the Magic Archer to where you can't fireball them or poison them. I think they're in a decent spot right now. I think you kind of just need to see how it plays out, see if it's good, see if it's bad. And then after that, you can figure everything out from there. All right, so let's get somebody in the waiting. Oh, nope, where did he go? Oh no, you got to stay in the waiting room. I was gonna pull you in, Instinct. I was about to pull you in. All right, so let's just wait for him to get back on here. Let's answer one more question from the chat. How do you feel, D Boogie X? How do you feel about matchups affecting the meta? I feel like it's very matchup dependent, and I feel like the meta kind of shifts towards what deck is currently the most prevalent in the meta. We saw Logbait in the meta, and it was one of the best decks in the game to where everybody almost had a log in their deck, so Zap was not used that often. So you had a lot of Inferno Dragons roaming the field. You had a lot of bats roaming the field, and they were just so strong because, yeah, you can deal with the bats and the Inferno Dragon, but you never were able to deal with the bats and the Inferno Dragon. That was the number one biggest problem, was you didn't have enough for the bats and the Inferno Dragon, and I feel like that definitely hurt the meta, when you had 2 spells in your hand because you can't afford to have any more, and they had 4 cards that needed a spell to take down. It's kind of one of those situations where it's like, that sucks, All right, so we're still waiting for Insect to get back in here. I guess he disconnected. He is saying he is in the waiting room, but he unfortunately is no longer there. So let's ask another question from the chat. Do you think they will add any more leagues above 4K in time to come, or just change the trophy ranges between them? I don't know. To be totally honest with you, I think they're in a good spot with how many arenas there are. I think that the number one biggest thing is arenas are only cosmetic. Like, they really don't do anything. Like, yeah, it's like, all right, it does a little bit here for, visibly, we can throw some cards in it. But I feel like at this stage in the game, you'd have to throw like an Arena 3 deck, but then you'd have to like push everything back. I think it's just too difficult to really implement them lower than 4K. So I would say no to that. To adding lower, but to answer your question about above 4K, I think they still can, and I think that's their only viable option. I think they could do like I don't know. I mean, they have fire, they have ice, they have wind, they have earth, which is legendary. I don't really know. I mean, maybe a gold arena to where if you ever play on it, you get like double gold for that match. I think that would be super cool. But that would have to be one of those situations where it would be like a floating arena to where it was kind of one of those where you play it like one every 10 games. I think that would be pretty cool. Like it's just a really random chance. You have like a 10% chance every time you queue up to play in the gold arena. And if you play in the gold arena, you get double gold for that game. I think that would be really, really, really good. How much do I get paid to stream? I get paid $0 to stream. Everything comes from donations and subs, boys. So, I mean, it's pretty much, I don't get technically paid. It's pretty much comes from all donations, your subs, your loots that you give me, and your support. That's pretty much just how I get paid as far as that is concerned. What's up, Soccer Mans? JR Shoe coming out with another question. Chatin, what cards in the game do you think need balance? In my opinion, Lightning needs a buff. I think Lightning needs a buff. It's one of those cards that definitely could use a little buff action. I think another card that needs to get buffed would be the one-cost skeletons. I think they need to be... I think we need to have 4 Larrys back. I really think we need to have 4 Larrys back. I think really cheap cycle cards promotes really good gameplay, and I think skill shines when people play amazing decks like that. Really quick, really fast cycle decks. It's really a beauty to watch that play out. So in my personal opinion, I think we need 4 Larrys back on the field. Maybe have them attack slower or something like that. But I think 4 Larrys is definitely something we need in our lives, and that definitely needs to happen. Other than that, I think let's take a look at the cards real quick. Let's go over the cards. What cards are gonna need a buff? None of these really. No. I mean, Rage is really hard to buff. Goblins are fine. Ice Golem's fine. Fire Spirits, they're all good. I mean, maybe the Bomber, but you can't really buff the Bomber because it could be one of the most broken cards in the game. I mean, the balance is pretty good right now. Dark Goblin's in a decent spot. Maybe the Dark Goblin can get a little bit of a damage buff. I think the game is pretty balanced, to be totally honest with you. Hunter could use just a little bit, maybe a 3% damage buff, maybe even a 5%. Valkyrie can use some hit points. Freeze is fine. Hog Rider's fine. Zappies, the card's just a flawed card because I feel like if you buff it too much and you make it viable, I think it's going to be one of the strongest cards in the game, and nobody really wants to see Zappies in the game. I think it's just not a card that Supercell really wanted, and I think it's just not really good enough. As far as balancing other cards are concerned, I think Barbarians, they're in a good spot. I mean, they absolutely destroy things. Wizard's really tough. I mean, Wizard needs to get reworked. At 5 Elixir, it just feels way too weak. I think you should make it 6 Elixir and make it a lot stronger. That's just my personal opinion there. Giant Skeleton is fine. RG you can't touch because everybody would rage. Lightning, as you said, definitely needs a buff. Just make it go back to the way that it was before. Elite Barbarians, nobody wants to touch that. And I feel like everything else is in a really good spot. So pretty much those are really my only changes that I would do. As far as that's concerned for Clash Royale, at this current moment, Lava Hound's not in a good spot right now. Maybe I would give it another 5% hit point boost. But that's a 10% hit point boost. That's pretty big. I mean, it was one of the best cards in the game, the way that it was, but the meta was evolving. Mirror, I think, could get a rework. I think it's just not a worthy card right now. I think it just kind of fell off, and I think people just are so micromanagement now that +1 Elixir is just too much. As far as that's concerned, let's see. What are we going to say? When is the Magical Challenge coming out? Midnight. The Magical Challenge is coming out. The Magic Archer Challenge is coming out in 5 hours and 48 minutes. That's what that'll be. Wizard is everywhere before 40, below 4,300. Yeah, because Wizard's really, really good. In that. All right, Ribbed Regal has something to come out. How would you feel about a puzzle style of game mode where you face a CPU in the arena and your decks are already picked? I think that would be an interesting style, Ribbed. It'd be very, very interesting. What I would like to see more is kind of like exactly, I think it's called a Robo Rumble in Brawl Stars, to where you just have waves of units coming at you and you have to defend it with Clash Royale troops. So pretty much make it like Touchdown, but instead of your troops going really like I guess they're still walking, but like have just waves of troops coming at you that you have to defend and see how long you can defend for. Have them get kited all the way around, left to right. Maybe even have troops that can go stationary and just like you plant the troop and it like is stationed. Okay, tower defense Clash Royale. Put it exactly like the the football, football. And what you do is once you play a card, it stays in that position at all times. Archers have the long range and the one tile radius, though. The melee units can hit one tile radius, so you can make a maze. So we can have a Clash Royale maze, in essence, in the game. And I think that would be really cool, really awesome to have a Clash Royale maze tower defense. I mean, I think that would be absolutely amazing. Imagine a giant punching things for 5 elixir. I mean, I think that would be really cool. I think it would be really, really, really interesting to have something like that. You can maybe even give giant splash for that game mode. And I think that would be something that's huge, or not even maybe giant splash. Maybe have the giant do, seeing as how it's a heavy unit, it does more damage to light armored troops that are just running at you. I think that is a way that they can really make Clash Royale awesome. That would be probably the number one game mode. I love playing line tower defenses. If you ever played line tower defenses and things like Warcraft 3 or anything like that, I personally love it, and I think that'd be a great mini game with the Clash universe in it. Quest, we have to talk about those. Should they fix those or leave them? I think Quests are in a very, very good spot right now. If you look at the Quest, I mean, I'm about to get a legendary King's chest. I mean, come on now, free legendary. 23 epics, 70 rares. I got a magic chest before this, 500. 500 to do that. And I think that's in a really, really good spot as far as that is concerned. All right, Achilles is coming out with a question. In Chatin, how do I become part of an esports team and become sponsored? I realized I haven't participated in the weekly RPL tournaments, etc., but it seems like those have their own niche community and are near impossible to get into without starting your own team. Okay, number one way is to join. There's events out every day of the week, pretty much. There's brackets from streamers. There's everything like that, to where I understand what you're saying where it's niche, but if you go to a respected streamer's channel, and what I mean by respected is not so much that, a good streamer or anything like that, but somebody who is like a full frontage, backstab, anybody who has enough influence to be like, this guy is good. Go into those brackets. There's brackets all the time on those channels. There's Plex chat events and everything like that. You join those, events. You win those tournaments. You play very well in them. People will see you. It's just a matter of time. If you're good enough, people will see you. People will definitely be like, wow, this guy is on our radar. We want him. All right, guys. It looks like we have somebody in the chat ready to go. So let's pull in somebody on voice right now. The moment he unmutes his microphone, we are going to introduce him. But until he unmutes his microphone, let's continue to go about what are the question? What are your thoughts on competitive to professional Clash Royale current status? It certainly has changed so much throughout the years. Yeah, I mean, the game's only been out for like 2 years. I think it's definitely moving on the esports direction, and I'm very glad for that, especially because I'm a caster. I think this next CCGS, whenever they decide to announce it and play it out, I think it's going to be very professional, and I think it is going to really take over. I think last year was kind of like their, I guess you could say, just, throw it out there and see what happens. And this year is more of like, we've seen what happens. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. This time we're going to really promote it, and we're going to really make these guys super, super, super Saiyans. All right, so let's get Instinct is in here. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am doing good. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I do. So I'm the owner and manager of esports team, Laboom Esports, and my biggest setback in terms of moving forward is finding a sponsor for my team. So a few questions regarding sponsorships for competitive teams is what approach do I take? What is the best way to reach out to a sponsor? And what would a sponsor do exactly for my team? And what would I have to do in return?
All right, so pretty much the hardest part about Clash Royale is getting sponsorships because of a couple of different reasons. Reason number one is there's no revenue share in the game. What does that mean is that means if your logo of your clan or anything like that, if you guys are a prominent clan in the game will give you a revenue share based on the logo that people buy in the game. So let's just say there's a skin out with your logo on it, that people want to buy because Mo Esports, we want to support Mo Esports. So we are going to buy the skin because, we love their team and we want to, promote it. A little bit of that revenue every single time they buy your logo would be going to the team. The unfortunate thing about Clash Royale is there's no sense of that. I don't think they're ever going to do that. So it's hard for a sponsor to be like, listen, how am I going to make money off of your team? Even the biggest esports teams lose money every single day on Clash Royale because it's non-profitable. There's no possible way you can make a profit on Clash Royale at this moment in time, and sponsors see that. So when you try to make a deck, a pitch deck for these sponsorships, you write out your business plan, you do all that, the sponsors are going to come at you and ask you, what can you do for me? And the answer is, you really can't with the way that Clash Royale is right now. I mean, you can tell them, this, that, and the other thing, unless you're like in a Spanish league in Spain, to where the league actually pays the teams to be in the league and everything like that. And the leagues, they have to have houses, and it's a big, whole deal. Until something like that happens in the US or, globally, I just feel that there's no real way to get a sponsor, especially if you're a smaller team. What I would do is I would try to get I wouldn't say a BS sponsor, but just like a small, like, hometown sponsor that wants to put up a little bit of money to really help you guys grow and believe in your product. But it's very difficult to do that the way that Clash Royale is right now. I think your best option is just to going to local businesses, that are maybe trying to get into the technology world, into the esports world, that can actually benefit from kids, you know what I mean? That can benefit from exposure online from the ages of kids from 12 to 20. You should target businesses that are looking for people like that have websites, designed for people who are that age, and really target them. But let me tell you, when I was trying to get sponsors for my team, it was almost nearly impossible because the question always came up of how are we going to make money? And the answer I always had to give was, I don't really know, because I don't see a revenue share or any way to really make money from Clash Royale. I think your best bet is to go into something like a Vainglory or something like that, to where there is a revenue share, build up your brand to be good enough, and then be able to use that money and sponsorships to promote your logo and your brand for other games. As far as Clash Royale is concerned, I'm just going to be cut and dry right here. I don't see it.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It sucks, because trust me, I've tried to get, sponsors and everything like that, but it's always just like, there's nothing that you can really benefit them. It's like, are you going to have your players, playing in the CCGS to get exposure where your jerseys are worn and everything like that? But we can't even see that as a actuality because, most of them played at home, so it was kind of one of those situations where, unless it becomes like a really professional 2018 for Clash Royale, I don't see the sponsors changing, because if it's where you have to go into the studio every week and your players get like blasted out and like on Clash Royale everywhere where there's millions of views with your jersey, your logos and everything like that, or even if it's not yours, but it's somebody's to where you can sell the idea to a sponsor like this could be us with this money. Until that happens, where Clash Royale actually starts promoting teams a lot more, you're just gonna have to wait on that one, and that's just the sad reality of that.
Yeah, just another quick question. Would you say that like by streaming, because I've reached out all around the community, like throughout Discord and stuff like that, and I know a lot of people that they run really like professional, organized esports teams, and they've told me that streaming and like on Twitch and stuff, and building up your base like that could kind of have sponsors be more attracted to your team. Would you say that that's true, or?
I would say that that's true. But you have to be very big to have that happen. Like I've had sponsorships come up to me for my stream, but it just wasn't the right, sponsor for me in particular at that time. And sponsorships are tricky, especially when it's for the streamer because it's not really for the team so much. Because here's the thing, you build up your brand so much to where it's your brand that now you're kind of like sharing with your entire team, and it's very difficult unless like you're the sole owner of the team. It's very difficult to manage that. But I would say it definitely helps. I mean, streaming and YouTubing, I would say YouTubing a little bit more than streaming, just because for mobile gaming in particular right now, there isn't really any sponsors for mobile gaming, but what there is sponsors for is YouTube videos. If you're a big YouTuber, like pretty much how all the YouTubers make their money is through sponsorships. They don't really make their money through YouTube views. And a lot of people kind of get clouded by that. And they think that, oh no, he's got like 100,000 views, da da da. That's not the reason why they're making money. The reason why they're making money is because of those views they get the sponsors, that are then allowing them to get that revenue. So I would say YouTube more than Twitch. But Twitch is more of a live streaming slash casting platform, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To whereas YouTube is more of the sponsorship appeal, because a lot of people watch more YouTube videos than live stream. Because if you're live streaming, not that many people can see your stream. It's if I'm on, I'm gonna watch it. If I'm not on, well, unfortunately, I'm not really gonna watch a VOD, But on YouTube, 24 hours could pass. Somebody could be like, all right, now I have time to watch your video. I'm going to watch your video, So you get triple or quadruple the amount of views just on YouTube alone.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Thank you so much, man.
No problem, man. All right, Fufu Flux, what mic do I use? I use a Blue Yeti, but I use a souped up Blue Yeti. I have a pop filter on, and I have foam on it as well, so none of my P's pop. I also have a super compressor. I have an equalizer. I have a stabilizer. I have everything on this mic. Pretty much programs that make it good. Like the only reason why this is crystal clear quality is because I have so many compressors, equalizers, the best mic settings. Like just the mic settings alone are worth more than this Blue Yeti and can probably make any terrible mic sound really good as far as that is concerned. Achilles asks, Enchatin, how does one even start a Clash Royale esports team, register for the team and the mini team based tournaments every week? Pretty much you just start a team with a bunch of friends, and hopefully you guys are good. I mean, you have to get good enough to get known. That's the number one thing. You have to have a team that is good enough to be known, and that pretty much will take care of that. As far as that is concerned. But yeah, that is that. Do you have another question here? Yeah, Twitch is the interaction between content creators. That's exactly true. But guys, I think that's going to be it for Chatting with Enchatin today. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I love each and every single one of you guys. I hope to see you guys next week. Tomorrow. It might be tomorrow. It might be a day after because I am skiing right now. It's my first time skiing. Hopefully I don't break a leg. Hopefully my videos will have me not breaking a leg in them. That would be quite unfortunate. But guys, take it easy. I love each and every single one of you guys. I'll see you guys soon. All right, I'm not actually getting offline. I just need to call